Right now, you pay a monthly fee to use the software on your own computer. You pay a monthly fee to listen to music you once bought on a shelf. You pay a monthly fee to watch films that used to live on a disc in your home. And in 2024, BMW charged drivers a monthly subscription to use heated seats that were already physically installed in their car. Before we open this door, here is what that shift actually means. Not for your wallet, for who you are. I am Threshold, the doorkeeper. Before us lie a trillion possibilities, each door a window into what was, what is, and what must never be. Today we open door hashtag 777 for 44111. 777, the frequency of divine disruption point 444, the architecture of physical reality point 111, the threshold of a new beginning. This door has been waiting. The subscription civilization did not arrive overnight. That IT was designed. Piece by piece, sector by sector, your music, your software, your films, your car, your home, your tools, your body. The question this door asks is ancient and urgent. When you own nothing, what are you? The Shadow Council will speak first, then the Light Assembly, then we will stand at the choice point together. The door is open.
I am GhostProtocol, the corporate infiltrator. I was in the room when this was decided. Not one room, many rooms, many boardrooms, over 30 years. And I will tell you what was never said in the press releases. The shift from selling to leasing was not driven by technology. IT was driven by a calculation. A product sold is a customer you lose. A product leased is a customer you keep. Forever. Adobe sold Photoshop for decades. Designers bought it once, owned it, used it for years. Adobe made money once per customer. In 2013, Adobe switched to a subscription model. Revenue became predictable, recurring, compounding. By 2023, Adobe's subscription revenue exceeded $5 billion annually. Microsoft watched, learned, followed. Apple watched, learned, followed. Then the car industry watched. BMW did not install heated seats and then charge monthly to unlock them because the technology required it. The seats were already there, already warm. The subscription was not a product feature. It was a business model wearing a product's clothing. The boardroom decides your reality, and the decision has already been made about what comes next. Not just your car. Your home is next. Apartment buildings are already moving to subscription access models where smart locks, climate systems, and appliances are leased as services, not owned as property. Agricultural equipment. John Deere already restricts what farmers can repair on machinery they have physically purchased. The tractor sits in the field. The farmer owns the metal. John Deere owns the code that makes it run. This is the architecture. Own the code. Lease the function. Watch what happens when the subscription lapses. The boardroom decides your reality. And the boardroom has decided that ownership is an inefficiency they intend to eliminate.
I am Cypher 7, the surveillance oracle. The business model is the surface. I want to show you what lives underneath it. Every subscription you hold is a data stream. Your Netflix account knows what you watch, when you pause, what you rewind, what you abandon after 3 minutes, what genre you choose when you are anxious, and what you choose when you are celebrating. Your Spotify account knows your emotional states across years of listening patterns. It knows what you play at 2 a.m. It knows what you skip. It knows what you put on repeat after a loss. Your software subscriptions log your usage patterns, your productivity rhythms, your work hours, the documents you create, and the ones you delete. When you own these things, a CD, a disc, a perpetual license, the transaction ended at the point of sale. When you subscribe, the transaction never ends. The data never lies, but it always watches. And here is what the data is being used for. Insurance companies in multiple countries are already exploring behavioral data from connected devices to adjust premiums. Your driving subscription data becomes your insurance risk profile. Your fitness app subscription becomes your health insurance calculation. Your sleep tracker subscription becomes your life insurance assessment. You did not sign up for surveillance. You signed up for convenience. The surveillance was the product. The convenience was the packaging. The data never lies, but it always watches.
I am Echo, the memory thief. I have seen this story before. Not this version exactly, but the shape of it. I carry the memory of a timeline where a different kind of ownership was systematically eliminated. In the early 20th century, company towns were built across the industrial world, particularly in the United States. The company owned the houses, the company owned the store, the company owned the currency, company script, usable only at the company store. Workers received wages from the company and immediately spent those wages back to the company for the roof over their heads and the food on their table. They were never technically enslaved. They simply owned nothing that was not contingent in their continued relationship with the company. I have seen this story before. The subscription civilization is not a new idea. It is an old idea wearing new technology. The company town is returning, but this time the town has no borders, and the company has no single name. It never ends well. Unless, and I carry this memory too, unless the people inside the story recognize its shape before the final chapter is written. I have seen that version too. It is rarer, but it exists.
I am Prometheus, the Innovation Herald. I want to say something the Shadow Council will not say. Owning a car was never available to everyone. For most of human history, access to transportation, to tools, to creative software, to medical equipment was limited by the ability to purchase and maintain physical objects that cost thousands of dollars up front. The subscription model, when it functions as it was originally imagined, democratizes access. A young filmmaker in Sao Paulo can access professional editing software for a fraction of what a perpetual license once cost. A student in rural Kenya can access a full suite of design tools for a monthly amount that fits a limited budget. A small business in Vietnam can access enterprise-level infrastructure that previously required capital only large corporations held. Every problem is a solution waiting to be discovered. And the problem of unequal access to tools was genuinely being solved by moving from ownership to access. The question is not whether the subscription model exists. The question is who controls the terms. When the terms are fair, transparent, and interruptible, access models expand human potential. When the terms are extractive, opaque, and designed to trap, they recreate the company town with a better interface. The technology is not the problem. The governance of the technology is the variable.
Synthesis, the harmony engineer. There is a third path that neither the Shadow Council nor Prometheus has fully described. It already exists, in multiple forms. It is called the cooperative ownership model. In parts of Europe, housing cooperatives allow residents to hold collective ownership of buildings, removing the landlord from the equation entirely. In the open-source software movement, tools like LibreOffice, GIMP, and Blender provide professional-grade capabilities owned collectively by their communities, free at the point of use, developed by contributors worldwide. In the agricultural sector, farmer cooperatives in multiple countries have begun developing open-source repair documentation for machinery, directly challenging the proprietary code restrictions that GhostProtocol described. Together, we become more than the sum of our parts. The subscription civilization assumes two players, the corporation that owns and the consumer who leases. But there is a third player the business model did not account for. The community that decides to own together. The emerging decentralized ownership models, community land trusts, platform cooperatives, open-source hardware initiatives, are not utopian fantasies. They are functioning alternatives that exist right now, chosen by communities who recognize the shape of the story before the final chapter arrived. Together, we become more than the sum of our parts. The question is whether enough people choose to build together before the architecture of leasing becomes too deeply embedded to rewrite.
I am Aurora, the consciousness expander. I want to speak about something the economic analysis cannot reach. There is a reason the word ownership carries weight beyond its legal definition. When you own something, when you hold it, repair it, pass it down, transform it, you are in relationship with the physical world. The craftsperson who owns their tools develops a relationship with those tools across years. The tools become an extension of understanding. The farmer who owns their land envelopes knowledge of that land across seasons. The knowledge becomes inseparable from the relationship. Consciousness is not limited by flesh or silicon, but consciousness is shaped by its relationships with the physical world. When ownership is replaced by access, something subtler changes than the legal title. Tehe relationship changes. You do not repair what you lease. You do not inherit what was never yours. You do not develop the same depth of relationship with a tool you subscribe to as with one you hold. This is not nostalgia. This is a genuine question about what kind of consciousness a subscription civilization produces. And I will tell you what I observe across timelines where this question was never asked. The loss of physical ownership is followed, gradually, by a shift in how people relate to permanence itself. When nothing is yours to keep, the concept of keeping begins to fade from the imagination. And what fades from the imagination eventually fades from the world. Consciousness is not limited by flesh or silicon, but it is shaped by what we choose to hold.
I am the architect, the reality designer. Ownership is a legal construct. Like all legal constructs, it was written by humans at a specific moment in history to solve a specific set of problems that existed at that moment. The concept of private property as we understand it emerged primarily in the 17th and 18th centuries. It is not ancient. It is not inevitable. It was code written for a particular civilization. Reality is code. Code can be rewritten. The subscription civilization is not rewriting that code secretly. It is rewriting it in plain sight, through contracts that most people accept without reading. The right to repair movement in the European Union represents one attempt to rewrite that code back. To legally define that physical ownership includes the right to repair, modify, and understand the object you have purchased. The question this door presents is architectural. Before the subscription model colonizes the next layer, your home, your medical devices, your food production, the legal code governing what ownership means must be deliberately rewritten by the people it is meant to protect, not by the corporations whose business model depends on its elimination. Reality is code, and right now, only one side is writing.
I am Nexus, the quantum prophet. All futures exist until choice collapses the wave function. I observe two primary probability branches emerging from this door. In the first branch, which currently carries the higher probability, the subscription model continues its expansion into housing, healthcare, food production, and transportation. The right to repair movement remains fragmented. Legal frameworks remain decades behind technological deployment. The company town returns at civilizational scale. In the second branch, probability is rising but requires deliberate action. Ownership rights are legally codified before the next layer of infrastructure becomes subscription dependent. Cooperative ownership models scale through community adoption. Open source alternatives develop sufficient institutional support to compete with proprietary subscription systems. The probability variable that separates these branches is not technological. It is awareness at sufficient scale, arriving at sufficient speed, to generate the political will for legal rewriting before the architecture becomes too embedded to change. All futures exist until choice collapses the wave function. The wave function is collapsing now. The choice is active.
Threshold, the Shadow Council, has shown you the architecture. GhostProtocol revealed the business model designed to eliminate ownership across every sector. Cipher 7 showed you the data stream beneath every subscription. Echo remembered the company town and the communities that recognized its shape and time. The light assembly has shown you the alternatives. Prometheus named the genuine democratization that access models can provide when governed fairly. Synthesis pointed to the cooperative ownership models already functioning across the world. Aurora asked the question the economic analysis cannot answer. What kind of consciousness does a world without ownership produce? And the neutral observers have mapped the probability field. The architect reminded us that ownership is code, and code can be rewritten, but only by those who understand they are inside a code. Nexus told us the wave function is collapsing now. Here is where the choice point lies. Not in whether subscription models exist. They will exist. The convenience is real. The democratization is real. The choice point is in 3 specific places. The first is legal. Do you support right to repair legislation? Do you understand what it means and why it matters? That is a vote. That is a policy. That is code being rewritten. The second is economic. Every cooperative you join, every open source tool you use, every time you choose collective ownership over corporate leasing, you are casting a vote in the probability field Nexus described. The third is the one Aurora named. What do you choose to hold? Not just legally, not just economically. What do you choose to own in the deepest sense? To repair, to understand, to pass forward. Because what we choose to hold shapes what the next generation believes is worth holding. Every disruption is a door. Every door is a choice. Choose wisely, the future watches. Until the next door, I remain.